FreeCAD is a workbench-based program. Each workbench has its own tools and commands. When we know how to use the tools and commands of both internal and external workbenches, we can perform the simulation in different ways. Some ways are more practical than the ones we are used to. For example, I am so used to the PartDesign workbench that I use it for almost all 3D modeling. But occasionally I use other workbenches when I need a specific tool for a task, and that sometimes takes a lot of time. In this video, we will model the 3D parts step by step, and we will also navigate several of CAD's internal and external workbenches and use some of their tools and commands to design the simple 3D model. On the start page of FreeCAD, create a blank document. For that, let's use the empty file option. Here we have an unnamed and blank document. If we want, we can save it pressing the save icon and define a name for it. I will rename to model 1 and enter to save the document. The next thing that we have to do before we start designing the model is to add a PartDesign body object to the view, because we'll be working with the PartDesign workbench. Press new body icon and the body object is added. With this body object in the document, we can start designing the model. Let's go to the document which contains the 3D model, and this is the 3D model. The best thing to do here is to start by creating a simple and basic shape for this 3D model. We can start by creating a sketch, and in that sketch we'll create a geometry for this face here. Let's go to our document and create a sketch. This sketch here must be attached to the YZ plane because we're creating a sketch to create this shape here. Let's go select YZ plane. As you can see, the workbench changed from PartDesign to Sketcher workbench. On the Sketcher workbench, we have the Sketcher geometries that we can use to create the geometries that we need on the sketch. We have the Sketcher constraints that we can use to constrain the geometries of the sketch. Okay, let's start by selecting a rectangle tool here from the Sketcher geometry tools and create these two rectangles. Skip the tool, right click and then delete, and then select the vertical line of this rectangle and this bottom line and hit delete to delete the lines. Now drag this point to here and then select the 3 points including the start point, and let's make them constant. Just press this icon, constant constraint, and we have the 6 degrees of freedom as you can see here. Next, let's drag this point to here and then select the 2 points and make them constant. In our document, to set the dimensions of these lines, we can select this tool here, dimension tool, and start pressing this line here, click off, and 54 millimeters. And enter to confirm, and then click on this vertical line, click off, 74 millimeters, and 2 degrees of freedom. Now, let's click on this line and click off, and type 110 millimeters, and for this line here the dimension is 34 millimeters, and enter to confirm. Let's close the sketch and then press home on the keyboard to center the sketch on the 3D view. Okay, with this sketch created, we can now create a solid using this sketch here. To do that, we need first to select the sketch and click on the path tool icon to extrude this sketch. As you can see here, we have a small preview of what will be created if we press OK. I want this extrusion to be symmetric to the YZ plane. To do that, I have to go to the path parameters on mode, expand and select symmetric, and then I can change the length of these to 54 millimeters and then OK to confirm. Here I have my simple and basic solid for this 3D model. The next thing that we can do is to create this small chamfer, this hole, and this feature here. To do that, we can use a sketch. Let's go to our document and create a sketch attached to this face. Select this face and then click on the new sketch icon to attach a sketch and this face. First of all, let's import the edges of this 3D model into the sketch. To do that, let's use this tool here, external projection, and then click on this face. As you can see here, we have these all edges imported into our sketch, and then select this all imported edges and press this icon to change it to construction geometry. Let's start by selecting a polyline tool and then zoom in here and create this geometry. Next, let's select the equal constraint and make these two lines here equal. Now if we select the dimension tool and try to pick the angle between these two lines, as you can see we have 45 degrees, so it's fine. Skip the tool. Okay, and next select the dimension tool again, click on this line here and click off, and the size of this chamfer must be 30 millimeters. Just set that and enter, and we have this full constrained. Now select the cycle tool, create a cycle here with a diameter of 20 millimeters, enter. 2 degrees of freedom, as you can see. Next, let's use the dimension tool to fix the placement of this cycle. Dimension tool, click on the center point of this cycle, and now on this imported edge, click off to create a vertical distance of 22 millimeters. Okay, and next from this point to this edge, let's create a horizontal distance of, let's say, 54 divided by 2, and this will give us a length of 27 millimeters. Okay, sketch full constrained again. So here we have a geometry for the hole, this hole, and the geometry for this chamfer. What is missing now is a geometry for this feature here. To do that, we can first hide these all constraints to work easily. Just press this icon, zoom in, and go to sketch geometries. From sketch geometries, let's expand the arc commands and select this one here, arc from 3 points, and now just click on this edge, and now on this edge, and create this arc. Let's escape this tool, and next let's make the center points of this cycle and this arc vertical constrained. Let's select this center point, and next this center point, and go to these tools here, expand here the commands, and select vertical constraint. 2 degrees of freedom, as you can see. Next, let's select the constraint tangent and make this arc tangent to this imported edge. Select dimension tool, click on this arc and click off, and type 6 millimeters for the radius of this arc, and OK. Sketch full constrained again, but now we need to create another geometry to close this geometry here, because if we close this sketch, for example, and let's make the pad visible and try to create a pocket using this, as you can see, nothing happens here. If we click OK, as you can see, we have this problem, wire is not closed. Okay, cancel this. Double click to open the sketch 001, and here let's select rectangle tool and the sketch geometries and create this geometry. Skip the tool, and now select this bottom line, delete, zoom in here, let's select this point and this end point of this arc, and let's make them constant. The same thing here, this point and constraint constant. Okay, now to full constrain this sketch, we can set a dimension for this line here. Let's select dimension tool, click on this line, click off, and let's say 30 millimeters, and then close the sketch. Next, let's use the pocket tool. Let's change the type to frugal, and OK. Let's select this edge here, and then click on the fillet tool icon in the PartDesign workbench, and the radius here must be 10 millimeters. Press enter to finish the fillet feature. Next, rotate the view and select this edge. Hold Ctrl key, select this edge. Rotate the view again and select this edge and this edge. These all edges here have the same size for the fillet. So I will press the fillet icon and set 14 millimeters for this, and then OK. The next thing that we can do is to create a sketch for this pocket and this one here. Let's go to our document and create a sketch, attach it to the XY plane. Just click on this icon, new sketch, and double click on the XY plane. On this document, we can see that the pocket starts on this face here, this top face here. So in our sketch, we can apply an offset of 34 millimeters in the Z position. Let's go to the model tab, select the sketch 002, this sketch here. Go to its properties, go to attachment offset, expand the parameters, go to position, expand position values, go to Z position, and let's say 34 millimeters. And now as you can see, we can see the y-axis. But if we set 0 here, as you can see, nothing. If we go back to 34, as you can see, now we have this. Go back to tasks. Let's use a rounded rectangle. Just expand the rectangle tools and select rounded rectangle and create this rectangle. Escape this tool, right click and select these 3 geometries and hit delete, and also select the vertical constraints and delete, because we want to drag these lines in this way. Equal constraint, let's make this arc and this arc equal. Escape the tool and select this line here and delete it. Okay, and let's drag this point to here and this one to here. And next, let's use the arc tool. Expand the arc command and select the first option, arc from center. Click on the vertical axis and close this geometry in this way. 8 degrees of freedom, as you can see. Escape this tool, select the constraint tangent, make this line and this arc tangent, this line and this arc tangent. Constraint symmetric, let's make this point of this line and this point symmetric to the vertical axis. Constraint constant and constrain this point in the horizontal axis like this, 4 degrees of freedom. Now let's set the dimensions of this geometry. Let's select dimension tool, click on this line, click off and type 4 millimeters for the length of this line. For this arc here, type 6 millimeters for the radius and 2 degrees of freedom. Next, click on this arc here, click off and say 17 millimeters for this. From the center point of this arc to the horizontal axis, the distance is 26 millimeters. As you can see, this geometry is full constrained. Now let's hide this all constraint. Just press this icon. And now it's time to mirror this geometry here on this side. To do that, first we need to import this edge of the 3D model into the sketch. First, let's change the geometries to construction geometries, because we want to use this imported edge as reference in our sketch. Next, press the external geometry and extract this edge. Okay, here we have the imported edge. Next, let's select line tool and let's start the line here on this point and create a horizontal line. Escape this tool and next zoom in here. Let's select these 3 geometries and now mirror tool of Sketcher workbench and check this option to create symmetry constraints. And now just click on this line here and we have this. We can see that this sketch is still full constrained. Okay, but now we need to close this geometry here. Let's first change the geometries to normal and select the line tool. Let's start the line here and close the geometry. Okay, close the sketch. And next select pocket tool. Now on the pocket parameters, let's go to type and select up to face, because we'll need to apply an offset on the pocket to create this. Okay, let's go to our document and select this face here. As you can see, we have this. Now it's time to set the offset distance. Let's say 3 millimeters and click off. And now just press OK. Okay, and here we have to remove this material. To do that, it's very easy. Let's create another sketch, but now attach it to this face here. On that sketch, we'll create a geometry for this pocket and another geometry to remove material to get this. Okay, let's select this face, create another sketch, and here let's go to scatter geometries, expand rectangle tools, select centered rectangle and create this rectangle, zoom in. Let's use the dimension tool to set the length of this line here to 1 millimeters and enter. Skip this tool and let's drag this point to here. Switch to session view and now this point to here. And next, let's zoom in here and use the external projection geometry to import the edges of this face here. Let's close the sketch. And now, as you can see, if I rotate the view, I have another geometry here. If I hide this pocket, as you can see, I have two geometries on this sketch. I will make the pocket visible pressing this icon. And next, with the sketch 003 selected, I will create a pocket. I need this pocket to be symmetric, so I will change the mode to symmetric, and then in the type I will set for goal and OK. As you can see, this is what I have on the 3D model. The next thing that I will show you how to do is to create this hole here. To create this hole is very simple. First of all, let's select this edge, for example, or we can select this one here, no problem, and then go to the hole tool. On the hole tool, the first thing that we have to fix is the diameter of the hole. The diameter of this hole is 30 millimeters. Okay, with that fixed, now we need to set the color depth of this hole. We can drag this arrow like this to increase the depth of the hole and then press OK. Okay, as you can see here, I have this. The next thing that I think we can do is to create these holes, these 6 holes for the 3 objects in this 3D model. Okay, and to do that, it's very easy. We will use a combination of sketches and the hole tool. Let's go to our document, and first of all, let's create a sketch, attach it to the XY plane, and then we will apply an offset of 34 millimeters on the Z position of that sketch. Let's create another sketch, attach it to the XY plane, double click XY plane. Let's use the external projection geometry to import this point into the sketch and this point here. Switch to the session view, change to construction geometries, select centered rectangle, and let's create this rectangle with 32 millimeters by 32 millimeters, and skip the tool. And now let's select the constraint symmetric and select this point here, and the center point of this rectangle. Full constraint in the sketch. The sketch is full constrained. As you can see, let's hide all constraints. Cycle tool. Let's create 4 cycles in this rectangle. Okay, like this. Skip the tool and now select these 4 cycles. And go to the dimension tool, expand the commands, and then select diameter dimension. Let's say 14 millimeters for this, and enter. And now close the sketch. If I select this face and add a transparency to this model, V plus T, as you can see, I have the geometry of the sketch inside this 3D model. Let me change to right view, and now I will go to the sketch 004, go to attachment offset position, Z position, and change it to 34 millimeters and enter. I will close the start page. Okay, as you can see here, I have a small problem. These 2 points here was imported as normal geometries. I will go back to the sketch 004, and now I will select this point and this point here and change to construction geometry and close the sketch. And as you can see, I have this. Okay, now that I have these 4 cycles in the sketch, I can use the hole tool to create holes for these 3 objects, these first 4 3 objects. I will change to right view and then select the sketch 004 and click on the hole tool. For now, I will press OK. Later, I will change it to the reference of the 3 objects. Okay, here I have this. Next, I will create a sketch, attach it to this face here. I will select this face and new sketch. On the sketch here, the first thing that I will do is to change the geometries to construction. Select the external projection geometry tool and import the edge of this face here. Here I have this as reference. Here I have the edge as reference. I will change to normal mode and select cycle. Create two cycles here with a diameter of 14 millimeters. Okay, and next I will select these two center points and place a vertical constraint like this, 3 degrees of freedom. Next I will select the dimension tool. I will set the distance between this point to this end point. The distance will be 9.5 millimeters. And next I will select the center point of this cycle and now this edge and create a vertical distance of 12 millimeters. And next, from this point to this end point, I will set the same distance, 12 millimeters, and this sketch is full constrained. Next, I will skip this tool, select the circular geometry and change it to construction geometry, and I'll close the sketch. And next I will use the hole tool to create a hole. I will press OK, and now I will go to the hole 002 and expand the tree. Select the sketch 005, Ctrl C to create a copy, use the regional selections, and now Ctrl V to paste the sketch in the document. I will drag this sketch 006 into the body object and spacebar to make it visible. And the next thing that I will do with this sketch is to change the attachment to this face here. So let's select the sketch 006, right click and attachment editor. Click on plane button and now rotate the view and select this face here. You can see that the sketch is placed here. We can fix this. Just scroll down and check this option, flip sides, and we have this. Now press OK. Double click on the sketch 006 and now it's time to change this geometry to construction geometry and this geometry here to a normal geometry. To do that, let's first switch to the session view and I'll select the two geometries and click on this icon and I will have this. Let's close the sketch. And next let's use the hole tool again. The first thing that we have to fix is the duration of this hole. Check switch duration to reverse the duration and now let's press OK. I will press on the keyboard and now what I'm going to do is to select these all hole features like this. And now I will go to the free type. I will change here to isometric profile and the free size will be M8, this one here. Now I will go to the hole code type. I will change here to this reference ISO 4762. The next thing that I will fix here is the depth of these holes, which will be 38 millimeters. I will go to this parameter and change to 38 millimeters and then refresh the document. Okay, with these 6 holes, now I will create the small fillets and chamfers on the 3D model, and after that I will split the model into 2 parts. Okay, first of all, I will select this face and remove the transparency V plus T on the keyboard. Okay, as you can see, I have a mistake here on this hole, the first hole. I will select this hole and change the free type to none. Okay, and then I will go to the diameter and change it to 13 millimeters. And also I will change the depth to something like 70 millimeters like this, and I have it again. Okay, I will save the document and next I will start by selecting this edge here and go to the fillet tool. The radius of this fillet will be 1 millimeters, no problem. I will click on the select button and start selecting the edge that I need on the fillet feature. I will select this edge. Okay, as you can see, I have this. Next, I will select the edge of these holes and create a fillet. The size will be 0.5 millimeters and select button, and now this edge and this edge, and now OK. And I have this. Next, I will select this surface here, hold Ctrl key and select the surface, and now chamfer. The size will be 0.5. Let me see. And OK. Okay, so now I have this all. The next thing that we can do is to split this part here into two parts. Okay, to do that, first let's create a sketch attached to the XY plane. That sketch will apply an offset of 12 millimeters in the Z position. Let's create a sketch. Click on this icon, XY plane, double click. Let's select centered rectangle and click on the origin point and create a sketch. Close the sketch. And next, let's change to right view. Go to the sketch 007. Go to attachment offset position. Z position, change to 12 millimeters and enter. Okay, so as you can see, this sketch here is located in the center of this hole. And the idea of this sketch here is to create a face and then use that face to slice this part here. As you can see, I have a small problem here on this edge. I will go to the fillet 002, double click and select button, and now I will add this and OK. Okay, I have this. Next, let's change to the part workbench to split this part here into two parts. Let's change the workbench to part. Okay, let's select the sketch 007, and now let's use this tool here to create a face from wires. Just click on this icon, and here we have this, as you can see. Now let's disable the body object, double click. And also let's hide this sketch 007. Click on this icon. Now with these two objects, what you have to do is to select the body object, and now hold Ctrl key and select the face and go to this tool here. Expand the commands and select this second option, slice apart. And here we have this. Now if I go to the exploded slice group and expand the tree, as you can see, I have two objects here. If I select the slice 0 and hit spacebar, as you can see, I have this part. If I select the two parts and hit spacebar, as you can see, I have this part. So I have two parts here. Now I'm going to work with this part here. What I want to do with this part here is to add a small chamfer in these two faces here. To do that, first I will start by selecting this edge and hold Ctrl key and select this edge here. And now I will click on the chamfer tool icon of part workbench, and also I will change the length to 0.25 millimeters, and then I will press OK. As you can see, we don't have a preview of what we are doing in the part workbench. So I will press OK and see what happens. As you can see, I have this. Now I will make the slice 1 visible and hide the chamfer 001. I will do the same thing with this model. I will select this edge, hold Ctrl key and select this edge here, and now I will click on the chamfer tool icon of part workbench, change the length to 0.25 millimeters and then OK, and I have this. Now I will make the chamfer 001 visible. I will press this icon, and next I will change the draw style to shaded, and as you can see, I have this result. Okay, now it's time to see how to add the screw objects on the document. To do that, it's very easy. I will start by compressing this exploded slice and change the workbench to Fasteners workbench. This workbench here. This workbench here is an external workbench of FreeCAD. Okay. To add the first screw object, I will press Fasteners and navigate to Add Hexagon socket and go to this option here, Add ISO 4762 Hexagon socket. I will click on this option. First of all, I will double click on this to access the transform tool and move the object to here and then OK. I will select the object. As you can see, the reference is this M6 and a length of 8 mm. I will go to its parameters. I will go to diameter and change it to M8, the reference of this screw object, as we see here. Okay, next I will increase the size of this object to 28, and to do that I will navigate to length custom and change it to 28 mm and then enter, and here I have this. Okay, as you can see, I have only one screw object. To add the other objects, what I'm going to do is to clone this object using the clone tool of draft workbench. I will change the workbench to draft, and I will select the screw object and click on clone tool. I will select the two objects and click on the clone tool again, and now I will select these two last objects and clone again, and I have this. Okay, and now to place each screw object on the holes, what I'm going to do is to use the transform tool. So I will start by selecting the first screw object, right click and transform option, and now I will scroll down here, and because I need to select the edge of the 3D model, I will change the draw style to flat lines. So in this way I can select the edge easily without problems. Okay, on the task panel, on the transform task panel, I will scroll down and go to utilities and click on this button, move to other object, and then select this edge of the hole and press OK. As you can see, now I have a screw object on this hole. I will select this object, right click, transform, and click in move to other object and select this edge here. Okay, as you can see, I have this. I will select this object, right click, transform, move to other object, and now I will select this edge and OK. Now this object, right click, transform, move to other object and this edge and OK. This object, right click, transform, move to other object and select this edge and OK. I will select the last object, right click, transform and rotate the view, and I'll select this edge, move to other object and select this edge and OK. So this is the final model. If you learned something from this video, please don't forget to hit like and share this video with your friends. Thank you for watching this video. I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you.